Problem 118, we are working with some polynomial division. All the problems are written a little bit differently, but they're all going to be done the same way. So if I take a look at problem A, make my generic rectangle, 3x minus 1 is what I'm dividing by, so that's going to go on the side. A 3x and a negative 1. And I always want to start off with my leading term in the top left. So 6x to the fourth. So now I figure out what goes up top. 3x times what gives me 6x to the fourth, and that's going to be 2x to the third. Multiplying times negative 1 gives me negative 2x to the third. Now, my next number here, negative 2x to the third plus whatever goes right here, has to equal negative 5x to the third. So when I'm combining like terms, they equal negative 5x to the third, which means that this has to be a negative 3x to the third. Now looking at what needs to go up top, so it's going to be a negative x squared. Multiplying it times that negative 1 is going to give me a positive x squared right there. Again, looking at my diagonal, they have to equal 10x squared. So that means this has to be a 9x squared, giving me a positive 3x. Multiplying, I have a negative 3x here. Notice that I ran out of room with the box. I'm just going to continue it on instead of just really trying to force the space in there. So I'll just continue my rectangle to the right. So now I need to get negative 18x's. I already have a negative 3x's, so this is a negative 15x. So the top has to be a negative 5, and when I multiply it, I have positive 5 here, which matches that positive 5, which means it divides evenly. There is no remainder. So the solution to this problem is what is on the top of this generic rectangle. It is 2x to the third minus x squared plus 3x minus 5. Doing the same thing for problem B. If you have not already tried problem B, go ahead and pause this right now and test it out. Okay, I'm going to go through and start up the problem. So I have an x to the fourth, starting right there, which means I have x to the third up top. Multiplying through gives me negative 2x to the third. Looking at, they need to add up to a negative 6, so I have a negative 4x to the third. So on the top then I have a negative 4x squared. Multiplying it through gives me a positive 8x squared. Now, I do not have an x squared term here. So that is a 0x squared. So if I have a 0x squared, that means this has to be a negative 8x squared. Because now those two will equal my 0x squareds. So that means up top I have a negative 8x. Multiplying it through the bottom gives me a positive 16x. Extend the box here a little bit. I need to add up to a positive 18x, so this is going to be 2x. So up top is going to be a plus 2. Multiplying is a minus 4, which matches. It divides evenly. So my solution to that problem is x to the third minus 4x squared minus 8x plus 2. Problem C. Go ahead, set the problem up, pause this, and try it out. All right, it's set up as looking like long division, but I'm still going to set it up the same way. So I have my x to the third, putting an x squared up top, Negative 3x squared goes here, adding up to positive x squared, so this has to be 4x squared. That puts a positive 4x on the top. Negative 12x goes here. They have to add to negative 14x, so it's a negative 2x. Looking up at the top here, then I'll have a negative 2. And when I multiply through, I get a positive 6. Here's the problem. That does not match that. So now I need to add just one little box up here for the top. Okay, I don't need to add anything down here. Nothing needs to be there. So 6 plus a negative 3 will give me positive 3. So for this problem, my remainder is negative 3. So I could write now my answer a couple different ways. My answer is going to be x squared plus 4x minus 2 with a remainder of negative 3. So I could write that as minus 3 over x minus 3. Or I could write that as plus negative 3 over x minus 3. It does not matter whichever way you want to do that. I'm going to just keep the negative right there. So minus 3 over x minus 3. And there's the answer for problem C. That is the only one of these problems that has a remainder. So problem D, go ahead and try that one out. All right, starting off with x to the 5th, that's an x to the 4th, so I get a negative x to the 4th. There is no x to the 4th all the way down, x to the 3rd, x squared, x. There are none of those terms, which means I need to make zeros. So this is going to be a positive x to the 4th. So up top, then I have an x to the 3rd. And multiplying it through, I get a negative x to the 3rd. And since they have to equal 0, that's now going to be a positive x to the 3rd, because those will make 0 x to the 3rds. Which means up top, I have x squared. Multiplying it through, it gives me a negative x squared. Again, I don't have any x squared, so this has to be a positive x squared. Give me a positive x up top. Multiplying it through, I get a negative x. That means now I have positive x. Again, those make 0 because I have no x values in that top. So up top, now I have plus 1. And multiplying it through is a negative 1, which does match my problem. So this divides evenly, and that is my solution. X to the 4th plus x to the 3rd plus x squared plus x plus 1. Hope that helped.